But we're here now.
Okay, cool. We are back. We are back.
We're back, alive and well.
So this is entering the last rounds. Obviously the event venue is starting to quiet down since it's only the 8 players, and everyone's starting to focus down onto the final. You can see even Keraan taking off the Pioneer mat. I think he's got some luck with the World Cup Magic qualifiers playing mat.
It's got Lily there, bro. I mean, you can't go wrong.
Yeah, so you can see.
Can't go wrong with Lily.
So maybe you should just ask him and say, like, look, you're not going to use that top
ever
eight
again.
Yeah,
you know.
And it looks beautiful.
So can I have it?
Yeah. No, we'll raffle it out.
To me. We'll rig it and we'll raffle it out to me because that Pioneer mat looks hot. Mm-hmm. So a mulligan for both players. But this is going to be a crazy game. I mean, if either of these players gets this... Also, just so you know, these rounds are not timed.
Yeah, so they got a little bit more time to focus, make their plays, so they can actually go through that thought process of whether they want to, make that decision. Obviously, there will be a judge around, so they can't take too much time, but the intention is to just take, the guys are made it to the finals, rather than putting them under pressure to try and play quickly and hastily and make bad plays, just to give them an opportunity. But there is still, they can get a warning for actually
taking too long. Yeah, sure, slow play. But so drawing their second 7.
So I was busy chatting to them because everyone was talking about Sarve's match, about the Jeskai Ascendancy, and saying how, we were all saying how fun it was when he played and it looks amazing. And he's like, this is not a fun deck.
No, it's not a fun deck.
My opponent just sits there.
Triumph to Passage.
Yeah. Nice.
And Keraan immediately... What was that card called again?
Is that a triumph?
No, man. This...
Consider.
Considered, yeah.
The
new opt.
I say the new opt, but it looks like it's a replacing opt in a lot of the formats, or either supplementing opt in that role. Serum versions back in modern is probably being pushed out because of its sorcery speed.
Sure.
And everything's going for efficiency and timing.
So Sarv, end of Keraan's turn, cracking the passage, bringing in the planes.
Mm-hmm. So Keraan being on the play is kind of huge here. The question is obviously who's going to get the portable hold?
So Dork.
Yeah. Are they playing the exact same list?
Pretty much. Shocked in, so 2 life from Sarvesh.
Mm-hmm. So they're playing the exact copy. I was speaking to Richard, who ended up playing Keraan's deck, which was the...
Omnath on the board.
Oh, that's a good one. That's really strong start from Sarvesh. I think Keraan looking like he's missing his land drop.
No, he's got a shocking in the Hallowed Fountain. So he'll go to 18.
Okay, so he's got the combo piece. So this is really down to who can push it up first here. So
if there's a land drop from Sarv, he will obviously gain the 4 life off of Omnath. Yeah. There it is.
So this comes down to 2 crucial pieces, right? It comes down to Sylvan Awakening, because that's your kind of finisher. It comes down to having your creature in Ram, and then it's also coming down to who can actually answer the board. So the real question is
22-18.
Yeah. 20. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Gotcha.
Got the shock. So this makes it a real. So Sarv looks like he's got the little.
Jeskai Ascendancy on the board.
Yeah, but he's got So this Sarv's in a very strong position, right? And this, mirror matches come down to the way your answers line up, especially game 1 when you don't have any. You're not looking at playing the mirror. Right? You're not trying to fight the mirror when you're going through 5 rounds, 8 rounds.
Sure.
You're trying to see if you've got a good hedge against a lot of the meta. Whether you're thinking Team Adventures, whether you're thinking Jeskai Phoenix, not Jeskai Phoenix.
Change the rocks.
Change the rocks for the enchantment, exiling a nothing. So just playing it for
the spell trigger value on the Jeskai Ascendancy.
Because he knows that that's almost worthless in terms of
Bob coming through, smashing the room camera on his way in.
Yeah, no, we're just teasing you at this crucial point. So, expressive iteration.
Finding another consider.
So putting the triumph, you can see Sarv is digging. Sarv knows.
Oh, he's got Tamio.
Sav
just pull the
knows
Tamio.
This is about the race. Yep. Tamio.
Swinging with Omnath, that's a 4. Is that Omnath 4?
Yep.
So that will go to... Wow. 7 damage? 8.
8.
Takes me to 10.
Yeah, and don't forget the landfall 4 gain life for
Sav.
So this is huge because Omnath being able to generate that mana, which is huge if you find the Fabled Passage to allow him that mana ramp. And you can see Keraan missing that early land drop is really costing him, right? Having to.
He's still stuck on 3.
Yeah, so he's really in a bad position. He knows he's behind, and Keraan, he probably is already thinking about how he's going to sideboard.
Definitely.
Right, he's just playing the game action. So if you guys don't know, that's Bob. Bob
Perfect has joined us.
Yeah, so we got
Lee Moodley, Crispy Wine, and Bob Perfect, your shot casting team.
Yeah, so yeah, man. I know Keraan's feeling it. I think maybe he used all his luck yesterday.
I think so. With this matchup, the mirrors obviously whoever gets it gets it.
Sure.
There's no interaction. There's decisions to be made, of course, but game 1 of this is slightly less exciting in terms of actually being able to interact.
Yeah. So I think the main pieces of interaction is what enchantment to the stone.
Chain to the stone.
Chain to the stone.
Chain to the rocks.
Chain to the rocks.
Yes.
That obviously there to keep Omnath under control. So Omnath's obviously there for all the aggro decks, but however in this matchup it probably plays as a crucial beater. More so than it is about. And it's also that life game, just forcing the other player to have enough lands for when they do Sylvan Awakening to they need to obviously have that high density of threats to be able to actually push through the damage. And that 4 life is huge. So Sav with that turn 3 Omnath, it just put him ahead.
Definitely, but and also obviously having the Keratin, having is that Ascendancy out?
Yeah.
You see, so that's really pushing him. You need the Keratin out with the Ascendancy. Without that, you don't necessarily get the actions going as nicely as you'd like to.
So I think Keraan might have also kept I want to say sketchy hand. I don't think he wanted to go down to 5.
Sylvan Awakening comes down, and that's a scoop.
I will say this: I know Keraan hasn't been enjoying playing this deck today.
He did say that. He said it's very intense. It requires a lot of decision making.
And it's just the triggers, the counting. So like each time you do something, you've got to select the mana that you're doing. You've got to make sure that you're selecting the right colors that you need for future plays.
Especially with the Omnath trigger, where you're only getting 1 pip of each color, having your expressive iterations, making sure you're getting each drop. And
it's a big brain deck. This is what we're trying to say.
These are big brain boys here. One doctor. I keep forgetting what Keraan's on.
Well, Keraan's got degrees in various things, but these days he's a business owner.
Yeah.
He owns 6 spicy dens, which actually qualified for Joburg's best samosa.
Fantastic.
Nice. Keeping the Indian spirit alive with the spicy den.
Hey, we like samosas. Samosas are good for you.
Yeah, he probably turned down the spice just to make it a little bit more inclusive. Playing some meta decks here. No, if you guys don't know, we're quite a diverse community here in South Africa. So we like to kind of keep ourselves at our toes. Making sure we enjoy our cultures.
Reaction 172 saying this deck is basically Pioneer Twiddlestorm with a grin.
Not a bad thing. However, we do have Lotus combos, so I might say that would be a little bit closer to that.
Fair.
Just because the Lotus combo is in the meta, so if we're going to draw those parallels. This, however, has its
just a quick thing. Lawrence 2, any Niv to Light in the top 8? Yes, there is one deck running Niv to Light. Yeah. Clinton Riddell will be playing that.
He took me out, so I'm pretty grateful that at least today 2 of the people that beat me made top 8s, which always makes you feel
a little better.
A little bit.
A little better.
Yeah.
You lost, but
it's fine.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's been interesting though. So Sarvesh, Keraan, myself, Richard, John Wood, we've all been hanging out, playing together over the last couple of days. So this was pretty disappointing for Sarvesh and Keraan to meet up at this point.
Right.
Especially because we've got Darren Fox as well as part of our crew who's in the top 8. So, 3 in the top 8, you're feeling pretty good about one of you taking it down. But now, one of you is going to knock the other one out.
Correct.
Yeah, and I think if I'm not mistaken, that's Lawrence Roycroft. Also plays a lot of Niv to Light, so that's probably why he's curious. I know.
Yeah, it's a very good deck.
Yeah, very strong deck. and it's got a lot of resilience,
Exactly.
I mean, it's also got a lot of answers to a lot of.
It's just a good toolbox.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of it. I mean, the helixes are great against the aggro. You've got your
Body rages.
Yeah, definitely Keraan to sort out the the go wide strategies. You've obviously also got some of the counter spells now in Dovin's Vetoes.
Yeah. You've got Tulsimir, Friend to Wolf, so if you want to gain some life, take out some creatures.
What's very interesting about those type of decks, what's very interesting about those decks is that you get a good, it's weird, but the mana base is kind of amazing without fetch lands in this format,
Yeah.
And that's very definitive, and you see these two decks playing Omnath, which is a landfall deck, not playing fetch lands where it can get abused like in modern versus here.
Keraan taking a mulligan.
I mean, obviously here you do have Growth Spiral, which does, help quite a lot with getting those extra triggers when it comes to...
But you never get that extra card, which is the sad thing from Omnath, which is what where are you wanting to... That's where you want to abuse the Omnath.
Sure.
The mana's good. Very rarely are you kind of enjoying that you're getting that 3 mana and trying to abuse it immediately versus something where, that extra card is massive in that late game. Just that raw card advantage is... What really makes you win tournaments, right? It's you can be aggressive, but as soon as someone starts to stabilize and gets the card advantage, which this deck is all about, card advantage. As once it starts going with the Ascendancy, you're just like.
I mean, so Sarvesh and I were playing
Passage.
A couple games last night. I was on the Jund Sacrifice deck, and for the most part, he was beating me. But there were times where if I just had it on 3, then, he was done. But it's the same thing with them. If you let them untap on turn 4 and there's a Keratin in play and there's an Ascendancy...
Keratin on the board.
You're going to have a bad time.
So this is more of the start that Keraan wanted the previous round.
Sure.
Can we bring up the sideboards there?
Yeah.
I'd like to... I didn't chat to either of them before about sideboarding, so I'm not too sure how this would go.
There's an Aether Gust, which is go huge.
So this is Sarvesh?
Yeah.
No, sorry, this is Keraan at the top.
Just scroll a little bit down, then we can see both sideboards.
I don't think you can see them both together.
Okay.
What is the view on it? You can zoom out almost.
Dude. Google Sheets, what do I know?
Just do this, control, and scroll this thing.
Okay, where's the control?
Alright. Yeah. So usually Google allows you to zoom out.
Okay.
That's not working.
Okay, well, I'm assuming...
Sorry, say that again? Shocked in the land?
2 damage to
Sarvesh.
Cool. So...
Too busy concentrating on Google Sheets.
Yeah. So that's an Omnath that hit the graveyard. Oh, that's a Mystical Dispute. That's huge. So I think Mystical Dispute's pretty big in this format.
Definitely, because it counts as Nov as well.
Omnath.
Omnath.
And Omnath.
Yeah.
But, that's
sorry, in the matchup,
yeah, not in this match, but in the format.
Yeah.
Mystical Dispute is
the big
MVP.
Yeah.
Especially against all the blue-red Phoenix that's been running around.
Exactly.
Something else has happened?
Yeah.
For Keraan.
Correct.
So Keraan looking like he's got the much nicer draw here.
Mystical Dispute getting rid of
And
the
shutting
expressive
down that
iteration.
expressive iteration is a big brain play.
That's a big deal.
Yeah. Well, that's what I wanted to bring up is Mystical Disputes hits that card draw of expressive iteration.
Chain to the Rocks.
I mean,
exiles Omnath.
Of course, but here's the problem. Keraan almost definitely would have sided in Wilt, which can then...
I think it's one-off.
It is a one-off. Yeah. But so he's got to be selective, and you would probably keep it for the Ascendancy, but at the same time, if you've got it now, you fire it off, you get your Omnath back, you draw your card.
And you get that advantage, right? And what's nice, so I'm very surprised they only ran one Wilt.
I think they're both running one Wilt on the side. I'm not too sure what...
We can check real quick.
It is, but I think the Mystical Disputes are obviously...
So one for Keraan, one for Sarvesh.
I assume they're playing the exact same list, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah,
just subtle differences in the sideboard. I noticed 1 versus 2 Aether Gusts.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Sarvesh is playing 2 Aether Gusts, if I'm not mistaken. Just because I think because you were telling me that obviously that's what he brought
Treasure
in.
Cruise?
Yeah. Yeah, Keraan is rolling with this game. His answers really lining up well. 2 Mystical Disputes.
Being on the play helped a lot.
Yeah, for sure. But remember, he was on the play last round as well.
Growth Spiral from Sarvesh. Does resolve.
Yeah. it's okay, you can take the card. I'm sure Keraan doesn't really mind.
Yeah, I mean, compared to the expressive iteration, like it's just not quite.
Yeah.
3 cards versus 1.
As worrisome.
And especially the selection of iteration. I think
That's the big issue.
That's huge.
Get you, like, digging 3 cards deep is no joke.
And
Yeah.
the land drop as well, when you do get that option of it, is very powerful. You always see it in modern, but this in it doesn't mean it's not.
Another expressive iteration
Ooh.
Sarvesh is looking to play out.
So does
No counter from Keraan.
Yeah.
One thing, have you guys mentioned that there is 7K on the line today?
There is 7K on the line today.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, look.
I'll take the split.
I know. Richard was sitting down and he was like, "Oh man," it's like, I'm not. He was talking about, like we were playing.
Okay, so
and he's like,
Tyler's tracker coming in.
Listen, I'm a little biased here because I want either Keraan, Sarvesh, or Darren to win so that I get 3 drinks tonight. You know?
But I remember.
Oh, Sylvan Awakening comes out.
This looks good. As Richard was saying, we kind of play more for pride in SA.
Yeah.
Right, because we don't get big competitive environments. We don't get opportunity to play at such high levels without having access to GPs, Pro Tours, and so yes, the money's on the line and it's good for us to play, but to the competition and the status of being the best in
Got
SA.
Jeskai Ascendancy. Why did we see Sylvan Awakening there and then go back into Keraan's hand? I'm not sure.
It would have been, I'm not too sure actually.
But Ascendancy on the board. So puzzle piece number 1 in place. He's found that corner, that edge corner piece.
Yeah.
The one you can never find.
So the title of this track come out from the board here.
Yeah.
So I think valuing that these threats to try and close out the game, that
Yes.
if there's someone can't answer it because
Well, that's the thing. They know that both of them have very limited
Removal. Yeah.
Okay, we've got a token to the counter. What is that?
No, I think that might be for
Oh,
mana.
I think it's for the clue tokens because he's put a
Okay.
Fable Passage down. Tyler's tracker says you play a land, you get a
those are
clue.
clues. Okay, cool.
So no clues in Sarvesh's token box.
This what? How? What?
Yeah.
How can we allow this?
He doesn't have a raging clue.
Yeah.
A wild clue has not entered the battlefield.
Yeah, this is what happens when you play so late into the games.
That card's been doing a lot of work today.
Yeah, it's a good pickup for the decks that want to just chuck stuff in the graveyard. you know?
Yeah.
And Fuel Treasure Cruise, there we go.
Exactly.
There we go.
That's exactly it. It's a good pickup for a lot of Pioneer decks, and we'll probably do some work in Modern as well. Although
I think it's going to do
obviously
a lot
there's
more work
lot-
in Modern. I think with the
But there's a lot
graveyard.
of choices you got to make, obviously with Thought Scour and all of those. Like, you've got your cantrips, you've got your 1-mana spells, so you now need to start finding splits. It depends on the deck, it depends on considerations.
So what I like about Consider over Thought Scour is the selection, right?
Exactly.
Thought Scour, you're just blindly dropping 2 and then hoping you draw a card. Whereas, yes, you might drop a card, but if you want it, you can keep it, Thought Scour does a lot of work in Modern, not legal in Pioneer, but Treasure Cruise only be legal in this format, and you can see guys obviously abusing the fact that you're allowed to do these type of things. We're also going to play a 1-mana draw 3 card.
Exactly. Cruising for a bruising.
Chain to the box into Sarvesh's hand off with the growth spiral.
I mean, it's kind of
At this stage,
not
Yeah.
what he's looking for.
no real targets for it.
But obviously now Tyler's tracker allowing him to draw quite a few cards.
And it's
And
pretty
a
big now.
swing.
It's a 5/4.
It's a 5/4, so that'll hit for 5 damage.
Yeah. Really putting, so this kind of puts a clock, which is what Sarvesh wants, even though he doesn't have the
Yeah,
combat.
but you're going to assume right now that Keraan is probably going to win on this turn.
Yeah.
He's got a whole hand of cards. He's got the
I
Keraan.
can see there's a Fable Passage there, and I'm pretty sure he's got the Sylvan Awakening.
That's the thing. So either he needs to draw into Sylvan, or if he's got it,
So
this should
right
be
now,
his
also
turn.
Sav's got the 3-mana up. So
Like for the counter.
yeah, so we got to also remember that Keraan's burnt 2 of his Mystical Disputes, which
Fair.
is probably the best sideboard card in this matchup right now.
Fair, and Sarvesh is probably holding one up.
Yeah, so he knows that the only way he loses is if those lands get animated and they get big quickly,
Quickly.
So there's 3 for another Jeskai Ascendancy,
right? So also seeing
which will
that,
trigger the first one.
and you can see Keraan also playing around Mystical Dispute here, having
Keeping
the
4 mana up, yes.
Yeah, as a 3 mana.
What's that card on the side?
Well, he's got 4 mana available.
Okay, yeah, sorry. Yeah, so 4 mana there.
Although
Making sure.
does the Keraan not untap? Oh, thank you, Sarvesh.
Yeah.
Good lad.
Yeah. This is what happens when you play against teammates, eh?
Exactly. I mean,
expressive
Keraan would have done
iteration.
it, like, you know, because it needs to be done.
Yeah.
Passage goes into the graveyard.
But is it not a maid trigger? It is a have creatures untap.
Well, he would have done it basically.
As sportsmanship.
No, well, because his next spell that he would play, he would have used the Keraan. So,
Yeah.
like, that wouldn't have gone past that phase.
I mean, the counter on the board, the dice on the board is just to show that the other trigger on the Ascendancy is that creatures get +1/+1 till end of turn.
Exactly. So that's your storm count essentially.
Yeah.
And also now with 2 Ascendancies doubling it up.
Yes, doubling it up.
I mean, he would like another character here, but I mean, he's going to be fine.
He's just played the expressive iteration. We're just waiting to see what his choices are.
So
I'm actually thinking he might not go for the Sylvan Awakening unless he has the Mystical Dispute. And even then, well, actually no, then because Sarvesh has to play full price for it.
So that last play was off of the trigger off of the Sylvan Ascendancy, off the Ascendancy to draw and discard.
Yes.
Then he drew for the expressive iteration. He drew his 3 cards, and now he's making his choices on that.
And exiling Treasure Cruise allowing him to do
Play that, yeah.
So I mean, it looks like Kieran's definitely getting that advantage, really allowing him to get into that driver's seat, seeing an Omnath in there.
This is a very big brain deck, though.
Yeah, it's not an easy deck to play.
Yeah.
So Treasure Cruise, exiling a whole bunch of cards.
Looks fun for stream, but definitely not fun to play.
Oh, thank you.
Mana.
Yeah, thank you, Foxglove. Alas, that's fair. Yes, okay, so it is. He is using the character there for the mana.
Is that the counter for the mana? All right.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah, because they won't necessarily need the +1s yet until the lands are animated.
Correct.
That's when you start, because obviously the Keraan is got Defender. So unless you're planning on flinging that thing.
Fling the curated.
I know that's in Bavin's sideboard. He was showing me some of his spicy inclusions. I suppose
Deck of his sounds crazy, man.
Well, he was going to play another deck if I hadn't forgotten to bring him cards. And I was like so broken from yesterday, and he had asked me he was going to play Is It in Soul, and just ended up on Cruel Adventures, and he's like, thanks for forgetting the cards because I made top 8 for it.
Sure, for sure.
And he's got a spicy list, playing Ulamogs and...
Yeah, I saw that.
So using the floating mana plus the 1 generation from the curated.
Yeah, so now he'll go for the Sylvan Awakening here.
There it is.
Nice.
And Sarvesh is letting him? Because that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so Sarvesh was representing there. Keraan was playing around the representation because he had to.
Yeah.
And just when he knew that he could hammer it home, he did.
And that's the level of play that Keraan is. Like, he knew, he played, he liked it.
He's a very patient player. And that's something that I think is missing from a lot of people. And even myself a lot of the time. You know, you get a little hot-headed sometimes. You get, bamboozled and discombobulated a bit. And I know those are both magic cards. And the magic's great for teaching you
funky words.
Well, I love
Except for words like triome, which doesn't exist.
It's crystals now, man. But I like magic because it's I mean, as a mindfulness and movement coach, it allows me to bring a lot of the real world stuff.
Snap, I didn't realize. That's cool.
Into the thing. So like the days you're playing well, you're making good decisions, right? The days you're playing badly, you're making bad decisions. So it's a nice way of reflecting your timestamp in life. And also, it's a very few places where you can actually see how lucky you are in life, right?
Fair.
Because when do you get to see, like, draw a hand and you be like, I got gas.
It's always just, when you top deck exactly what you need at the right time.
Yeah.
But I like that. I mean, the problem is, like, I think it's awesome that, like, you got the mindfulness aspect, but most people aren't looking at it from that level, Well,
I'm hoping to bring that into the thing. So, talking about luck, so I play Team Rhinos.
Tomorrow is going to be quite an interesting day then.
Yeah, so that like...
We're actually making an interesting point. You can't really not be patient with this deck. If you are not careful, you will miss triggers all over the place.
Yeah. Definitely. And also, like, what I mean by patience, it's also just not taking unnecessary chances.
Sure.
It's, Keraan's a very deliberate player. He won't risk something unless it's the only play to make.
Or he has to make that
That's
play
what I'm
because he's
saying,
so far behind that if he doesn't do this, he's not going to win the game. So he has to risk it for the biscuit, right?
Exactly.
And
but yes, this is a deck that is much. Well, it depends on how you like playing Magic, but personally, I prefer playing these kind of things online just because you can't miss your triggers. Yes, it'll take a bit longer to get through the game.
Oh my God,
and your machine might crash.
Fair.
this deck must be horrible to play online.
Yeah, Moto, that's the only problem.
Thankfully, you can only play
Moto's
this on Magic Online. Arena would just be like, no.
Arena would probably just crash. Arena's like, we've got too many things popping up on screen.
Yeah, and at least you don't have the rope on Moto. So
Yeah. Too much of triggers.
although it does suck when you're playing against someone who's playing like a combo deck and like
You just did
your
much.
time's on 25 and theirs is on 3 minutes and then they beat you.
Well, I remember a friend telling me he had to play with a friend playing a combo deck. He went to the bathroom, eventually showered, came back, and his friend was still going through all the
my
triggers.
gosh.
They were practicing, they were getting through it, but. And this is partly why I don't enjoy playing online. Not because I have anything against it. It's just when I play Magic, I like to see my opponent. Like are they playing like this? Sometimes they tap a little bit. You can get the pump fake in Arena, and you can get all of that. But sitting against a player, maybe you see them trembling. You can see their actions. Maybe they got a bit of sweat, and that for me is the beauty of it. And also shuffling cards. I love shuffling cards. So you can't do that on Moto.
Yeah, you see, for me, I just like the efficiency of online play that I can get. Today we've played 6 rounds of Magic, but I would have been able to play 2 tournaments online today.
Or at the same time.
Well, yeah, but I'm not that big brain.
Yeah, and for me, I don't really play computer games. Right?
Foxgloves, alas, says they think Arena would handle it fine. I think it might. The rope could come into play, especially on the earlier turns, but maybe not.
When you say the rope, is that the timer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reaction seems to think it would actually handle it far better. You could stack and view your triggers.
Yeah. Sure.
Fair enough.
The only time I played Arena recently was to build up my Magecraft deck for top deck versus Spotch. Like I was just like,
Is that it? You're not an Arena guy?
no, it's. I don't mind Arena. I actually enjoy the drafting on Arena.
I enjoy draft on Arena.
Like if I'm gonna play anything, it'll probably be draft. But I like interacting with people. So Magic's like my board game space. If I'm gonna, right, and that's partly why I don't play Commander. Is like it's more of, if I'd rather
But
play
that's
another,
more of a board game.
Yeah, I play another board game. I play a
Okay.
actual board game over playing Magic. Whereas in playing competitive Magic, I'm trying to find lines to win. Whereas Commander, you're negotiating like Monopoly and like trying to find that. And there's different styles of play. So I commend the people who play Commander because it is a nice board game, right? You get to play a game I enjoy.
Yeah, that's fair. Reaction 172. I agree with you entirely. Like, you tracking everything in this matchup is super important.
Yeah.
Like, I agree with you. I would definitely need to do that, or else. I mean,
I'd have to keep notes. I wouldn't. Yeah, I mean, just.
I wouldn't bring this deck just because it is, for me at least, a bit much. Like, I would rather go for just a nice mid-range deck that does its thing. Like,
Yeah. Good old fashioned fair Magic.
Good old fashioned fair magic.
Said the guy who brought John Citadel to.
Says the guy playing Team Rhinos. But so these guys are off. No mulligans, which is good.
Okay, Triumph or Triumph, potato from both players.
Yeah. Although Keraan playing the little.
Okay, Keraan coming out straight away.
Oh, nice.
Okay, we got the mirror.
And Keraan coming out straight away.
So Sarv being on the play probably has the advantage. First move advantage as in
Typically,
chits.
yeah.
Reaction saying, I can't even imagine playing a sack mirror in paper.
There were actually a few sack mirrors today.
Oh, were there?
Yeah, there were a few. There were about 4 or 5 Jund sacrifices.
Yeah, I saw there were a few, but none of us.
Wasn't Robert Wild running a Jund sack?
No, I think he was playing. He was playing Golgari sack.
No, he plays Jund.
Is
Rob,
he
he would definitely play Jund.
Yeah. Okay. He likes his combo decks.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely struggled today with remembering all my triggers. There were times where, like I missed life gain, I missed, pings on
Was that a
when you make them
sorry,
sacrifice
is that a hinterland
their stuff.
harbor? Yeah, so that didn't shock him, did it?
No.
Yeah, so and that's why I think Paper Magic has that more competitive feel because it's all in your control versus letting it's like online poker versus real poker, right? You've got to make all the choices, the decisions, the timing.
Oat14 jumping into chat saying you've got Demir Rogues or some Infect. No Infect and Demir Rogues or what won the standard competition yesterday from Diego van Heerden, coming all the way from Potch to beat Keraan Chetty in the final yesterday to win that.
Tomorrow there'll definitely be some Infect.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there'll be some Infect tomorrow.
Hammer Time are bringing some Infect. I know some people, some friends liking the Infect. They were supposed to borrow some decks, and then decks got borrowed, and there was no decks, so they just go to the
trigger. So
yeah, well, that's the
Sarvesh.
thing. Okay, thank you for keeping up to.
I got to try and do something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Omnath on the board, 4 life gain.
This is quite. So Keraan drawing a lot of these creatures that I don't think he 1 or 2 is good.
I mean, it is good because you want the mana advantage here to be able to, if you have your mystical disputes and stuff like that. But that Omnath in play is going to be a problem.
Yeah.
If it goes unanswered for another turn.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Okay, now
Simic Ascendancy on the board.
we have got a problem.
Well, Keraan has a problem.
Yeah, so Sarvesh using the free mana of Omnath to play the Jeskai and still hold up Mystical Dispute, which is huge.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Really, playing it out, whether he has it in his hand or not, could be the pump fake, the poker play, but
But I think both those Keratons came in that last turn for Keraan, so you couldn't use them anyway to.
Jeskai Ascendancy. Yeah, and
Here
Mystical
comes the
Dispute.
disputes. Does Keraan have another one spell, or is he going to pay the 3?
Not sure. He's cracked the passage.
Because Sarvesh is just like, this is a honesty check, basically.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
And Keraan literally showed him his hand, so we can't quite see it.
right, and I think this is obviously all he has to do, right? It's obviously the combo piece because he just needs to start casting spells and Keraan can go off, right?
Well, we've still got the mystical disputes on the stack, don't we? Or
Mystical
what happened?
Dispute is on the stack,
So
not
he's
anymore.
going to pay 3?
Looks like he's paid for it.
Then cool.
And then paying 1 for Consider.
Yeah, so you see now that's where having 3 Keratons is where you want to be.
Yeah. Now the Keratons untap because of the trigger on Ascendancy.
Right. So now he's got the counter spell or to hold up any kind of reaction, basically. If Sarv does.
Well, the
decide
thing is,
to-
so he can just he's going to be drawing quite a few cards here, depending on what's in his hand. With the Ascendancy, you can dig quickly.
Yeah.
So if he can get some mana floated, get an Ascendancy, not get an Ascendancy, get an Awakening, and then just keep playing spells, this could be it.
So blue and a red mana floating.
This is not this is literally, if you're Sarvesh now, you're just hoping
2 blue
he
floating.
wafts at some point.
Yeah, this is like watching the
Playing
Storm player
Consider
start
again.
going off, and you're just like.
But on the other side, if Keraan lets Sarvesh untap, there's a very good chance Sarvesh wins here.
So this is a really important turn for Keraan.
Yeah.
He's got to find some answers here, or we're talking game.
Probably.
Look, it all. I think. There's an iteration in his hand, which is huge.
Yeah. Because that also allows him to go up again on mana, so he's going to
Oh,
have to...
another Ascendancy.
Ooh, this is going to get 2 triggers now. After this, sorry. After the tap,
So
then he's
draw
going
and
to
discard.
get iteration to get 2 more cards plus the 3 deep. So like Keraan.
Yeah,
Again,
It's
floating
going now.
mana off
Yeah.
of the Keratons.
This is like the Storm player starting to
Yeah.
This is when Sarvesh, you can see Sarvesh is so still. He's just like, are you going to give it? Are you going to just show me it?
Well, the thing is, it's still going to take some
Expressive
time.
iteration.
Because he needs to get the Sylvan Awakening, and then he needs to play a bunch of spells afterwards as well. Because he's got to do 24 damage. There is an Omnath to block.
So the question would have been, was it right for Sarvesh to fire off that mystical dispute?
He had no choice.
No,
he had to try.
Well, look here, he knew that he had the mana to pay it up. So the mystical dispute isn't going to, like, sure, you know, like it's like, you know, when you
Well,
have.
it's just to try to tax his mana like as much as possible.
And knowing that, yeah.
So
well,
this is the draw of expressive iteration.
Mm-hmm. But the question, you would
I mean,
always
he
have
didn't
to-
really have another play anyway. Like,
Yeah.
leaving it up for any of this, you know, Keraan's going to have more mana.
Yeah, and he's already got. You can see the mana floating.
Can't see
so
what
it's
he's
not
put
gonna-
into exile.
But maybe.
Somebody appears to have moved our camera.
Yeah.
We can't see the bottom of this board.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might be right there. I'm not too sure.
You know,
actually.
like the question is obviously
So
he can.
Consider going into exile and then playing from exile.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what it sounds like to chat when I talk into the bottle.
So now we're making meters.
Yeah.
Wow, that is a lot of mana.
Yeah, so it's 2 green, 3
Yeah.
white, 3 red, 3 blue. I'm assuming.
Yeah,
And I
based
think,
on the colors of the die.
Yes.
and I think also, you know, when you're trying to attack a storm player, you want to do it at the start, right? You want
Exactly.
you want to trip them up. So you know, it's not a bad play. It's just like the way things line
That's why I
up.
say I feel like if you're Sarvesh, you don't have a choice there.
You've got to see. You got to hope he whiffs and like.
What do
deny
you
mana.
think, chat?
Yeah.
Come on, chat. Give us your 2 cents, or 20 cents, or Fox Club Less. I feel it was right to use it. If Keraan had had an awakening and not consider, he would have not been able to counter it and would have lost.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And that's just like the close your eyes and hope, eh?
Wow,
Like,
tapping again, floating more mana.
I'll tell you something though. This deck has a way better top of the deck than Citadel does. Somehow they always have it
Yeah, so I think Rob was playing the Citadel sacrifice.
as well.
Yeah, that's what he. And then
Yeah.
so when I was talking about the sacrifice, I was thinking there's a lot of red black sacrifice that's playing more Crocs.
Oh, so that's just that's the hand attack kind of deck.
Yeah. So there are, you know, there's different styles of sacrifice decks. now.
Another ascendancy from Keraan.
Oh my gosh, this is.
Well, there you go.
And there's the Sylvan Awakening.
Yeah.
Cool.
So you can see.
And that's the game.
Nice.
So that is, essentially, like I said, Keraan had to get there that turn, or else it was all over for him.
For sure.
Sarvesh knew everyone knew what the situation was. There.
Pretty much, yeah.
It was just a matter of getting to it. And like For Glove Lass says, I'm Fox Glove Lass. Sorry.
Fox Glove Lass.
I'm looking from the side here.
It's getting late as well. The lights getting down.
I can turn the lights on, Bob.
The old age.
It might have been a different story altogether.
Yeah, Bob's not so perfect anymore.
But
There we
that
go.
is the power of Jeskai Ascendancy right there. You can just shut your opponent out and win the game in a turn with very little action actually in hand.
Yeah. It's the mana dorks that really do it for you. As long as you've got the ability to generate the mana to play the cards that you need to, I think that's where you want to go. And for Keraan, having those 3 dorks out straight away
Exactly. So
just
that-
changed everything.
Well, that's what we were discussing a bit earlier, you know, because Sarvesh had the banging starts, he had the Omnath.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, looking at the board,
He's got
Sarvesh's
it.
doing better here.
Yeah.
But those Keratids are what win you the game.
Yeah.
Like, along with Ascendancy, obviously.
For sure. All right, everybody in chat, don't go away. We'll be back with the semi-finals very soon.